Did you know the LA Kings have their own culinary partner? It's Superfood, celebrating 10 years and over 1 million meals served. Since 2020, the Kings have trusted Superfood to fuel their players. Now through Simply Lunch, you can bring that same performance-driven food to your office. Because when people eat better, they work better. Visit mysuperfood.com. That's mysuperfd.com. Or call 213-973-6145. Qualified companies can enjoy a free lunch for up to 10 managers.
You're listening to All the Kings Men, the official podcast of the LA Kings. Now, here's your host, Jesse Cohen.
Welcome back to All the Kings Men. I'm joined now by Zach Dooley. How are you doing today, Zach?
Jesse, I am tired.
I'm sure.
But I'm doing good.
Yeah, we're recording this on, I don't even know what day of the week it is. Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Sure. Zach has just come back from the 5-game road trip that the Kings are returning from. And on that road trip, Zach, 4-0-1, which is, honestly, if you had told me before, I mean, I talked to John Kelly before the road trip, and I asked him, what is how many points for a successful road trip? Not how many, obviously you want every point available. And he said 6, and I kind of agreed. I was like, yeah, you know what? 6 out of 10, it's three wins or 2 wins and 2 overtime losses. Like, that would be good, especially given the phrase I'm using is the Kings stumbled out of the gate.
Yep.
I don't think they got off to a terrible start, but
not a great start.
Not great. It was a stumble. But you go 4-0-1 on the road, stumble erased. It's
kind of funny, right? Because I keep looking at this from like a micro versus macro perspective. And macro, things are great, right? Like 4-0-1. They've erased the stumble to start the year. They're in a playoff spot, 2 points away from the division crown. But then micro, you kind of look at each game and you're like, this isn't like the best version of the Kings. And I don't think we've seen it yet. Like, I thought the best game they played was the game they lost, which is kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But 4-0-1 is 4-0-1. And when you start 1-3-2, Jim Hiller said it, like the Kings dug themselves a hole to start the year. And they have now dug their way out of it. They're back to level enough footing. I thought 7 points would have been a good trip, 6 a passable trip. 9 points, no matter what you think about how they got them, great trip. You can't really ask for more than 9 points.
And again, the one they lost,
they dominated, right?
Yeah,
like,
they probably should have won.
The inverse of the San Jose game almost, right? Like if they got the win in Nashville and the loss in San Jose, you'd be like, yeah, that all tracks.
And I thought what Jim Hiller said after the Sharks game last night was probably the right approach, which is we're not going to think about it too much. We got 2 points. It's a long season. Moving on, right? And you know, as a fan, as an observer, it's fine to sit there and parse over the numbers and say, but at the end of the day, the only numbers, and I've said this time and time again, the only numbers that actually matter are how many points you did get. The Kings got 9 out of 10, and now as long as it continues, right, now they come home, now they have a chance to start putting together better play at home.
Yep.
They're yet to win a game on home ice this season, so that would be nice, obviously, for Kings fans. But that road trip goes, especially just for the mood of the players.
Yeah, for sure. It was just so needed, right?
Yeah.
And like you just look at, things felt not great going on to that trip, right? And you look at the start of it, the Kings have struggled in St. Louis, and we all know how much they've struggled in Dallas. So you're staring down 1 win from 6 games, going to St. Louis, going to Dallas, and it's like, if these don't go well, if they can't get at least one result in one of those 2 buildings, you're looking at 1 from 8, and that's bordering. That's not a stumble anymore. Like, that is a falter.
Yeah.
They go into St. Louis, they get a Kingsy win, right? Like a 2-1, score 1 more in a grinded out kind of game. Then they go into Dallas. And that game really seemed to uptick the vibes, unless you're a Texas Longhorns fan, in which case your vibes went down. But that just seemed to really set the tone, right? Like those 2 wins in buildings where the Kings have really struggled, it just seemed to really flip the script a little bit.
Yeah, and I have to, like, when I was thinking about the trip before they left, looking at the schedule, like you mentioned, because of the past play in Dallas and St. Louis, I just thought, okay, well, if they don't get any points out of those 2, at least you have, no disrespect to the Predators, Blackhawks, and Sharks, the 3 weaker opponents of the 5. And so, okay, you know, you hope to get whatever you can out of the first 2 games, and then, you know, you win the back 3. Now, as it turns out, they didn't win the back 3,
sure,
but they did win the back 2, and in regulation, which was also, I'm sure, much needed.
I don't get paid by the hour anymore, so I don't like working overtime.
But if you're one of the players, I would have to imagine, what was it, 4 games that went into overtime in a row?
It was 4 in a row. It was 6 of 9
Yeah.
to start the year. Our friend Blake Ware said the only team in NHL history to go to overtime in their first 6 games. And also, I think it was the only team to accrue 9 points from 9 games without a regulation win, which are both just baffling statistics. Like, I don't know if it's a feat achieved. I was like, I don't think they achieved a feat by doing this, but it's certainly interesting.
I mean, so I'm sort of torn because I'm fascinated by oddities, right? I think everybody
same,
is.
yeah.
But I would rather just have calm,
100%,
efficient winning,
Yeah.
right? Like, I'd rather the Kings just do well
Yeah.
rather than be interesting and lose. But last night, again, they beat the Sharks, but then you look at and I know it's silly, but the deserve to win-o-meter. And it's just been a season of odd situations. They probably should have won the Nashville game. They lose. Dallas and St. Louis, like, Dallas was fine, but St. Louis was
Fine,
But you go to overtime 4 times, you could easily be 0-4 in those games
For sure.
but they're not.
There was a stat that I found in the San Jose game. It was mid-second period, and in the second period alone, the shot attempts were 24-2 Sharks, and the goals were 2-0 Kings.
Yeah,
2 attempts, both
Right.
went in. And then that was before San Jose got on the board and really started rolling. But it was like the flow of play was so slanted, same as it was in Nashville, right? The Kings, in the second and third periods in Nashville, out-attempted the Predators. I think it was 51-13. Like, it was dominant in that game, and it was dominant against in San Jose. And that's kind of what Hiller was talking about, right? Like, you play 82 of these, there's going to be wonky games in both directions, and ultimately, they're exhausted, they take the points, and they get home.
and if you're trying to focus on the positives, for example, it's tough in a game like that San Jose game because one of the positives was the play of on the whole road trip, but in that game in particular, the number one positive was the play of Darcy Kemper.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get an opportunity to be a positive if the rest of the team isn't getting shelled. So it's like, well, okay, it's great that he played well. Like, I'd much rather have good Darcy Kemper, but it comes at the expense of getting massively outplayed by the San Jose Sharks.
I mean, I talked with Drew Doughty after that game, and he was pretty much like he's the only reason. Like, he was excellent.
He was.
So many high danger chances that he kept out. The Kings, it had the feel almost of that 7-2 game last year where it just felt like a barrage. But the difference was that Darcy Kemper was exceptional and kept him in it. And you're right. Like, you almost look at your goaltender when your team plays poorly, and he stole them 2 points flat out, right? And
I think I saw somewhere online that he has 3 steals already this season. I'm not 100% clear yet what constitutes a steal.
I believe it is when your goals saved above expected is 1.5 or higher.
Okay.
So like above your actual.
Sure. All right.
So if you save 4.5 expected goals and allow 3, you get a steal.
Since he's
Something
come
like
back
that.
from being out with injury,
he's
been the Darcy Kemper of last year.
Yeah.
And not that he was terrible to start the season, but part of the stumble out of the gates was allowing a lot of goals.
For sure. Yeah.
And this, on this right now, they allowed 3 to San Jose. That's not great.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was the Nashville game, but the win in Chicago, which was Forsberg, not Kemper, but he also a nice,
Very good.
rebound performance out of him. St. Louis was a 2-1 game. What was the score in Dallas?
Dallas was 3-2 Kings.
Okay,
I thought Dallas and San Jose were like, okay, that's Darcy Kemper. Like, he was himself. He was really, really good in those 2 games for sure. That was like what we saw last year, right? Like, he was a big reason they got those 2 wins.
And that's got to be the bedrock of getting away from wonky outcomes, right? Like, solid goaltending is the foundation on which you build your house that can sustain through interesting statistical anomalies. I thought Darcy Kemper played great on this road trip, and fortunately, this sort of stories broke. We do the King of the Week every Monday, and it was really easy to choose one in particular. But for this coming week, now it's like, well, we've got Darcy. I mean, who knows? There's still 2 more games to play, but
a couple front runners.
Yeah, but just based on the San Jose Sharks game and based on the previous games, which shouldn't theoretically matter in King of the Week, but it does. Just focusing on like great stories coming out of the road trip. You've got the play of Darcy Kemper.
Yep.
You've got Adrian Kempe, who appears to be, I said it on Twitter, I think this might be his actual breakout season, which seems insane.
Insane, right?
Given that he scored 40 goals a few years ago.
There's just no one like him on the team, right? Like, he's just so unique and so special, and just what a player.
I genuinely think he is. I usually wrinkle my nose and raise my eyebrows at phrases like, the next level or whatever, but I genuinely think he's gone up a level. Like, he's playing so well.
He's a dog,
he's incredible.
One thing, like, in the playoffs, like, the Kings probably didn't have enough dogs, but like, he's a dog.
Yeah.
And you know what a dog is when you see one. Like, he's that kind of player.
And to your point, Corey Perry.
He's a dog.
I'm not going to bother with an intro. The Kings are 4-0-1 on this road trip. Coincidentally, 4-0-1 in the Corey Perry era. Yet to lose in regulation with Corey Perry. It doesn't feel as weird as I thought it would. Probably because he's playing exactly like he's excelling in exactly the kind of ways that you would expect Corey Perry to excel. If he came in and looked like Teemu Solani,
right,
it would be weird just because that's not who he is.
It never has been who he is, right? Yeah.
But he's come in and he's played, and he's not playing like 28-year-old Corey Perry.
Nope.
He's playing like 39-year-old Corey Perry. He looks exactly like he did last year and the year before, and he is. That goal he scored against San Jose, I've seen a bunch of people make comments on it of like, who would have thought standing directly in the center of the goaltender's kitchen would lead to a goal? And, that was how he scored against, was it Dallas, I think?
Pretty much the same spot.
Yeah,
and the Chicago one, he finished a 2-on-1 from an inch outside the goaltender's kitchen,
But, I mean, I heard Darrell Evans talking about it on the radio cast, just talking about, like, there are some players, and I think Jim Hiller might have said the same thing. There are some players where the puck just finds their stick.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's fine for, like, sports talk, chit-chat. The puck find their stick. But no, that's hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
That's experience. That's knowing where the puck is likely to go and knowing where you have to be to maximize the amount of times that the puck finds your stick.
When it's found his stick for 20 years straight
in
the same area,
right.
like, he's doing something right.
Yeah.
He's got 3 goals from a combined 3 feet outside the net. And it's just like, I don't know. It's like the Kings needed him, and like he's not playing 25 minutes a night. He's never going to. But he's just bringing things that are clearly helping the team win. And, like, the Kings brought him in to win games in April, but he was needed now. Like, the Kings needed a spark. And I don't think it was just Corey Perry. Other guys played well, stepped up. But, like, I think he factored in. And, like, you hear these guys talk about him and what he means in the room, what younger guys are coming up to him to try to get from him. They're trying to learn from him, what Kopitar and Doughty think of him, having battled against him for so many years, what Hiller thinks. Like, what all these people think of him. Like, man, like, just as good as it could have gone through 5 games, I think.
I don't frequently wish that I could be on the ice, like everybody says, oh, I'd love to have, microphones on every player so that, and I'd pay however much money to get an uncensored, mic'd up the entire team and like just put it on HBO and like, whatever. When Drew Doughty scored against the San Jose Sharks, I think Corey Perry was on the ice.
He was screening the goaltender on the play.
I would pay obscene amounts of money to be on the ice for that moment, and just I would like to know how they reacted.
I thought that was the goal he impacted the most, and he didn't touch the puck on the play.
Right. Well, that's why that's why that play needs its own statistic.
Yeah.
Screening the goalie.
That's an assist. That's a something, right? Like Drew said it. He said, I don't score that goal without Corey Perry going to the front of the net and being, as you put it, just in the goaltender's kitchen.
I mean, that's somebody asked about somebody's office. I can't remember. It was Adrian Kempe. Somebody said, when do we start calling the top of the right faceoff circle in overtime? And I was like, all right, well, he did it once or twice.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, as long as we're just assigning offices arbitrarily.
When he scores 850 goals there, like Ovechkin, I guess.
But like Corey Perry, he's filled out an application.
The heat chart is not very expansive with Corey Perry. It's just very hot in that area.
But to your point, not playing 20 minutes a night. So I don't know. I mean, I know they have efficiency rating in other sports. Somebody needs to, stat people.
Yeah.
I want an efficiency rating for hockey.
Maybe like his points per 60 has to be.
Yeah.
I know it's played 5 games, but like exceptional, right?
I mean,
like,
and his goals per 6, because I believe I read somewhere that he's 4th already on the team in goals. Now it's early days, but so let's talk about the bad news, I suppose, and that is Warren Fogel's injury.
Yeah.
I listened to Jim Hiller speak before the Sharks game. He spoke to you, and he said that it looked like he wouldn't be out long, but that he would be out.
Yep.
I'm assuming no updates in the 48 hours since then.
I think we'll get one tomorrow, which might be today when you're listening to it. But yeah, I think he was hesitant to commit to a day-to-day or week-to-week timeline without fully knowing. And I mean, I don't know, he's gotten some flack, right? For, is he mislead? Like, no, he's not. Like, injuries change, things change. They're not always a straight linear timeline. So he knows he will miss some time, was what he said, but didn't hope it was like too long. Warren Fogle stayed with the team in San Jose. He didn't come back early, which is something. Yeah. You know, he was in San Jose for that game. Imagine he'll get looked at again today, and we'll get a better sense of what his timeline will be. But it didn't seem like, okay, this guy's going to be out. We know he's going to be out for months. It didn't seem like that kind of thing, or I think they would have said so.
And just to be a scold, not to you, but to some people, because I had a more than a handful of people reach out to me asking any updates on Warren Fogle. And I saw some comments on random platforms of people saying, accusing essentially the coach and the team of being mysterious about the injury updates. Like, they were on the road. So unless Warren Fogle left the game in the first period against the Blackhawks, drove himself with a busted wing to the airport, flew home on a hypersonic jet, and then landed at the hospital and got looked at right then and there, and then texted the results back to the, like, I'm not sure how they're meant to know what happened. And certainly I don't know. And you, like, if they don't tell you,
sometimes like, oh, that's not good.
Right.
But like 2 hours after it happens, it would be irresponsible to guess, right? Like, you don't want to be,
especially on the road. Like I said, if you're at home,
and then the next day was a team off day, so there was no availability with the coach. It was the first question asked after the Chicago game and the first question asked before the San Jose game. I thought the update was at least like, he's not playing this game, he'll miss some time, and it without putting a timeline on it, you keep asking and you keep getting updates, and we'll see when he's back.
Unless they come out and they say, he'll be back next year, and then he's back 2 weeks later, then you go, okay, what's
going on here?
But if they say, listen, we don't know, they don't know.
Yeah.
One thing that was also mentioned when you talked to Jim Hiller before the Sharks game was that Kyle Burroughs is now out of the red into a regular into a full contact. I've never known
just a regular jersey. Full. He was a full contact participant.
Yes, not the no contact red jersey. Anyway, the only reason it caught my eye or ear is that when Kyle Burroughs is activated off of injured reserve, which presumably will be within the next week.
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, that's
morning skate isn't really a contact practice, right? So I think tomorrow, Friday is probably the gauge of like, okay, is he out there?
So maybe
is
a week from Friday
in it? Yeah. And if that's the case, then you're like, okay, he's probably.
But like it's coming, right?
Getting
like
there.
The steps are happening.
Yep.
And when he is activated off of injured reserve, then the Kings have a decision to make because presently they have 23 guys on the roster.
Yep.
And Kyle Burroughs on injured reserve. Angus Booth was just activated off of injured reserve and loaned to Ontario. He started the season on injured reserve. So when Kyle Burroughs comes off of injured reserve, the team has to make a decision.
Yep.
Now, you and I talked before the season started about them starting with 8 defensemen. Mm-hmm. That conversation was rendered moot because Kyle Burroughs went on IR.
Yep.
If they want to hold on to Burroughs and Muvrare, then one of the forwards has to go to Ontario. If they don't, or waivers, and if they clear, then Ontario. If they want to hold on to Malat and Hellenius, then one of Burroughs or Muvrare has to go down, unless they just keep playing musical IR chairs and put Fogle on IR.
There's also another option, which would be that Muvrare and Burroughs both eligible for a conditioning loan.
Sure, but that just kicks the can.
Which kicks the can. Yeah. Probably about 2 weeks each. Mm-hmm. You can do that if you're coming off IR like Burroughs is, or if you've been scratched for, I believe, 5 straight games.
I think that's right.
Which Mo has, and Sammy Hellenius is probably around there as well.
He got in one game, right? But I don't. He
got into 2, but it was when Kopitar was out. So he has been out at least the last few. So, it was when Kopitar and Perry were both out. Those 2 games, or when Hellenius played. But that is a kick the can down the road thing. Mm-hmm. Fogle probably could be out 7 days, right? So he could be on IR, and you can retroactive it, and it's all good. They have a lot of options. Like I would think that they would want Burrows to go play some games or Mo
Yeah.
to go play some games, right? Like if like Mo Farah hasn't played this year, Burrows hasn't played this year, Helenius has played 2 games. Like you don't want them to sit for a month and then have to go in when they are needed, you know, if there's another injury. So that wouldn't surprise me if those guys were loaned to the Reign maybe in an active window and played like 3 or 5 games in Ontario when like that decision does have to be made.
And it's funny because, you know, I don't know about other people, but I have a tendency to look at the roster and go, oh, well, here's all these solutions, right? Short-term solutions.
Right.
But they're short-term solutions to a problem that isn't ideal.
Correct.
Right? Like
Yeah.
you want your guys to play.
Yeah.
You want to have the full complement of players available to you to make your decisions. If you can conveniently avoid tough decisions, great.
Yep.
But
at some point,
you got to make a decision.
either someone's going to has to be traded or hurt in a way that, okay, they are not an option right now, or you have to assign probably one of 4 guys to the Reign.
Yeah.
Then eventually you're going to have to make that decision. And I don't really have a feel for which way it would go. But also I think that I think it makes sense to kick it down the road if you can, and you can also then get those guys some games and some reps.
Knock wood, unless there's a string of injuries.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of like their blue line.
Todd McClellan used to talk about the credit in the ATM, and I think that there's nobody who's short on credit there. So I don't think performance-wise it's likely that there will be a change. Whether someone thinks there should be or not, fine, but I don't think there's going to be.
I mean, it doesn't seem
so. I think those are the 6 they're going to go with, assuming that all 6 are healthy. Right now they all are. You don't want to see injuries, so that's the situation. The guy who's kind of for like F this all up is Jeff Malott, right? He was outside the picture, I think, coming into camp. He bullied his way into the picture and is at a place where he is making it very difficult to exit the picture. He's playing well, scored a really nice goal against the Sharks. He brings that physical element that I think he maybe didn't fully have last year. I think he's more comfortable showcasing that style, looks comfortable at the NHL pace. And he is a guy that I think would be really hard to waive right now, where I don't think a ton of people might have had him on the opening night 23 a month ago.
He plays such a very specific role on this Kings team and it's a role that is diminished in the NHL these days. So, I don't think it's outrageous to think that, like, well, not every team needs that kind of guy. But if you want that kind of guy, then...
Because he's not like a goon.
No,
he's not
at all.
He can play, you know, and
But he's also not shy to fight.
No,
you know,
he's willing.
There are tough guys who don't fight, but he's like, I think he has 4
He's willing
majors this year.
Willing to get in there.
Yeah.
And he's interesting because in the AHL, he's a 20-goal guy every year, right? So he's got some skill. And those guys are rare, you know, like to have a guy who is a true skill guy in the, like, if you look at, like, you know, Helenius or Lee, they're not going down and scoring 20 to 30 goals in the AHL. They're playing a similar role, just even more effectively against like AHL players. Malott goes down. He is a first line 20 to 30 goal scorer in the AHL. And then he comes up and you can still see that ability, right? Like he can play the game, but he's also willing to do those other things. And like, he's just proven to me, at least, that he is an NHL dude. Like he's an NHL player.
Josh Schaefer mentioned last night on the radio broadcast of the game after his goal against the Sharks. His first goal last year that didn't count, that was waved off, was a high skill move.
Outstanding, yeah.
His first official NHL goal went off his butt.
More of a Corey Perry style goal, yeah.
But the one last night was just an incredible shot.
Outstanding, right? Like 2-on-1.
Yep.
How many 2-on-1s have we seen the Kings pass up this year? It's a lot, right? And now it's 2 games in a row. It's LaFerriere in Chicago, Malott in San Jose. Just ripped it and beat a goaltender clean, and that was a heck of a shot.
This is not relevant to the Kings, but it was something I'd never seen before, and it involves a fight. And I'm just curious if you saw the fight that took place on, I think it was opening night for the Reign.
The one after the goal? Yeah, I did.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I would recommend you go back and find the highlights.
That was Cam McGuire's, I think, first goal call with the Reign.
So Andre Lee, there was a face-off. Jacob Doty had agreed to a fight before the puck was dropped. The puck was dropped. Akil Thomas wins it. Andre Lee steps up and just
rips it in, yeah.
But Doty had already agreed to fight, so the fight starts. But at the Reign games, they turn the building lights off for the goal celebration. So the fight is beginning and the lights go out. And when the lights come back up,
they're just going at it.
Just going at it. So we're just, I asked Andrew Lord after the game. He said, I'd never seen it before.
Never seen that before.
Crazy. So hopefully Jeff Malott never has to fight in the dark. But, I mean, we all know who his brother is.
Sure.
So I'm sure that family not unfamiliar with fighting.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, that's so just to get back to the Burroughs thing, that's it creates an interesting decision.
It's a decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's not one that you could point to a bunch of different options, and none of them are like 100% like, yeah, that's obviously it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could make an argument for a lot of different things to be done, and I am interested to see when the time comes how they decide to approach it.
And with Fogle out, it felt to me anyway that there was an obvious slotting solution, right? Like, okay, Fogle's out, so Armia moves up to that line.
Yeah.
Then you move either Hellenius or Malott onto the fourth line, and that's a choice. But it was okay, well, I know who's filling in for Fogle.
Right.
And if, one of the other forwards on the top two lines was out, I feel like I could probably take a guess anyway.
Yeah.
At how it would
I think so too.
work
Yeah.
out. It's just on the margins where the decisions start getting a little hinky, and that includes when Burroughs comes back, and what do you do?
I've been so pleasantly surprised by Joel Armia.
Yeah.
He was sold as like this fourth line PK guy, and he has been outstanding, I think, on the PK. I don't know if he was on for the goal against last night, but if he wasn't, he's the only regular forward who has not been on the ice for a PK goal against.
I think I double checked that stat this morning. I think he was not. I think it still holds.
It was Armia up front and CC on D. Neither had been on the ice for a
There's
PK
one more,
goal
but
against.
he hasn't played every game.
Kevin Fiala. He
right.
played about 32 seconds. Yeah. So the regulars.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, and Armia, it was like 50-50 on scoring chances on the ice. So it's like he's like getting as many scoring chances as he's giving up on the PK. So he's excellent. His 5-on-5 play was not talked about as much as the PK play.
Yeah.
And he just seems to complement like every line. Like I think you could put him with most guys. I don't think he's going to score 40 goals, but he could play. He fit in with Byfield and Fiala as well as he'll fit in with Danault and Moore. Like, he could just click. He's a smart player, does a lot of things pretty well. I really like his game. I think he was maybe an underrated or undersold acquisition.
At the end of Rob Blake's tenure, I made a point and would do it pretty frequently of praising the pro scouts, because Rob Blake's 8 years as general manager, his track record of bringing in professional National Hockey League level players from outside the organization was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Ken Holland leaned on the pro scouting staff, because obviously Armia, Perry, Dumoulin, and Ceci and Forsberg have reputations.
Yep.
And he wasn't here for very long before the signing, so I'm not sure if Ken Holland sat down with the pro scouting staff and said, this is what I want, and they went and watched a bunch of tape and said, okay, here's what we got, or if he just knew who they were. But, I mean, it just continues that trend.
Yeah.
Because Armia is not the only one. We've talked about Corey Perry.
Yeah.
And listen, Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin as a pair at even strength, obviously concerning enough to split up after 3 games.
Yeah, clearly
on
didn't
the
work.
penalty kill.
Yeah.
Haven't been on for a goal against.
Right.
Which I was talking to somebody earlier this morning, and they were like, well, how many goals have those two been on the penalty kill? And it's like, none.
None, yeah.
As it turns out, none. And the second most frequently used pair on the penalty kill. So again, it just speaks to this organization's ability to weave pros into the lineup, into the system, and I don't know if that's organizational philosophy. I don't know if that's because Jim Hiller has been an NHL coach for, I don't even know how long he's been in it, because before he came here, obviously he was
a while,
in Detroit and New York,
Toronto.
And Toronto. So I mean, and Newell Brown has experience. DJ Smith obviously has experience. So I mean, the organization is rife with people with NHL experience, and I imagine that probably helps when it comes to slotting in professionals.
It's interesting to me because 99% of the summer attention went to 2 players, and it was Perry and Ceci.
Yeah.
But the other guys, Armia got next to no attention, and that's just a solid signing, I think. And I think that Brian Dumoulin has proven, I think him and Ceci didn't work 5-on-5, but since they've moved apart, I think Dumoulin has slotted in pretty effectively with Drew Doughty. He's a pretty simple player. But he has some Gavrikov qualities with the stick. He breaks up a lot of plays, seems comfortable logging, minutes at a Doughty level. So
I think he's led the team in on time on ice twice already. Which
Yeah.
was shocking. To me.
Shocking, for
Like,
sure.
Not that
Yeah.
it was him specifically, but just that
Yeah.
it wasn't Drew Doughty.
Anyone that's not
Yeah.
Drew Doughty is surprising.
Yeah.
And if it's not Drew Doughty, like, oh, it's probably Anderson by 2
Right.
seconds. But
or
no,
or
it's-
some random night where Kempe or Byfield logs
play like a
minutes.
ton,
Yeah.
11, like an 11-7 game or
Mhm.
something. Yeah, but it's been almost those. I know where the attention has gone, but it's like, wow, like this Armia guy can play.
I'd be really curious because they split they split Dumoulin and Ceci up after 3 games. And I get it. Those 3 games did not go great.
Right.
But 2 of them were back-to-back games. One of them was a home opener at home. One of them was a home opener in Vegas.
Yeah.
They won the Vegas game.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the 3rd game was.
It was
The road game.
Winnipeg.
Yeah, right.
Yep,
Okay, Winnipeg.
a 3-2 loss.
So, yeah, it was not great. But, as we said, the team stumbled out of the gate.
Yeah.
Once they settle, assuming they do, which based on recent seasons, I have to imagine they will settle into their normal Kingsy style of play. Boring, as as Connor Bedard said.
Did you see? It was Connor. Did you see Andre Kopitar's?
I didn't see it, but I read your
Just a little cheeky.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the key again? He's just play boring.
Yeah.
With a little smile.
I will take boring wins over dramatic losses all day long. But once they settle into, their identity, for lack of a better word, I would be curious to see that pair reunited. Because 3 games is not like people talk about it as if it was 20 games.
Yeah.
And oh my God, the season is over and it's their fault. And how could you pair them? It was 3 games.
Sure.
3 games where they won one of them. And I don't know what happened on opening night, but it's opening night. Stuff happens.
Lot of players didn't play well in that game, right?
And hoopla, and you delayed beginning to the game, and then so I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point the pair switched, right? And maybe that switch would include Clark and Edmondson. So maybe it's not even that pair, but like unlikely that we're going to see the same pairs for the final, 72 games, 71 games?
They played 11,
like,
so yeah, 71.
71. Like it's going to change again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's other guys they're gonna have to work with other guys. So like it can't just be that for the whole year. So I don't know. There was thoughts of like Dumoulin and Clark. Could that work?
Mm-hmm.
I think
we saw that in the preseason. I think
for sure.
Yeah.
I think the opening day of camp that was a pair.
Yeah.
So that's in the bank at some point too. So interested to see just kind of how things progress. But I think that the changes for now have benefited those 2 players for sure.
The one concern I guess I have left is penalties and penalty killing.
Yeah.
And I was looking at it. I don't actually know off the top of my head how many times they've gotten a penalty for puck over the glass, but it feels like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Which is too many.
It happened in Chicago. Forsberg did it,
Yeah.
and then Edmondson
Byfield did it once.
Byfield's done it.
Edmondson did it last
Byfield
night.
on that ridiculous one in Minnesota, I think, where he fired it all the way.
It was not even trying to get it. Like it wasn't a desperation play to get it out of the defensive zone. He was trying to set up an offensive play and just misread his own strength, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I was looking at who's taken the most minors, and just out of curiosity, do you know who's taken the most minors?
I'm gonna say Byfield or Edmondson. No,
it's Adrian Kempe.
Adrian Kempe.
So it's tough because it's like you're not gonna not play. Like you can't punish him. I think he has 6. Maybe 5. I don't know, but it's like
it's also your team's best player
by far.
Yeah.
Byfield is up there. As is I think Edmondson. I think he nailed 1, 2, and 3. So it's just it has to stop. And I don't know why the penalty kill is struggling, but that has to get better. And I don't know what the solution is.
The penalties. So last night I think they took 5.
Yeah.
2 O-zone, 1 neutral zone, 1 delay of game.
Yeah.
The Doughty slash is the only one that you're like, okay, it was in the slot. It was a dangerous-ish area. The other 4, like, you just can't do those, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
the Malott one in the offensive zone.
Both were him, actually.
Yeah. But the one where it was up against the boards.
Yeah.
I was watching the telecast, and I think it was Cassie Campbell Pascal. Is that her name?
Yep.
She was like, "You can't do that." The ref was right to call it.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fair, but also, So he didn't mug the guy. Like, he didn't,
Sure.
It's
just one of those
it's
where
a dumb play.
It was like when Turcotte took the major in Vegas. Like, that wasn't a major.
Right.
But you can't put yourself in the position
Right.
to let the ref make a call that's wrong. Like, don't even give them the chance. So the penalties have to go down, and the kills I am optimistic a bit about the kill, because if there was one area that I thought, okay, maybe the goals weren't, where you're talking about, like, they weren't getting the saves or the goals, like, it was the kill.
Yeah.
Where there were a few where it was like the high danger saves were there. It was those outside shots that were going in on the penalty kill. There've been a lot that have been outside the house on the PK specifically. Last night that was not the case. The San Jose power play goal was tic-tac-toe. It was a very nice play. That gives me a little bit of optimism, but if the penalties are 5-6 a night, there's only so much you can do.
That's unsustainable.
That has to get dropped. For sure.
And again, I don't know. To me, it's just like, especially the reason I brought up the delay of game penalties is because it seems like it's a lot. And that one, and too many men on the ice, which I don't think they've had this year. But those, well, I mean, it'll happen eventually.
It's going to happen, yeah.
But those kinds of penalties to me come down to like focus issues.
Yeah.
And that's where you go, okay, well why?
Well, last night there were focus issues in San Jose.
So, and that one I get, right? Because
late in the game.
We heard the quotes from the players.
Yeah.
5-game road trip that started out with back-to-back games, and back-to-back games, and it's not like back-to-back against the Devils and the Islanders.
They were obviously gassed, right? Last night.
But you just can't take that many penalties.
100%. I mean, and if you do, and your penalty, wherever the goals are coming from, like, you have to get more kills too.
Yeah.
Like, you have to penalties are going to happen sometimes, and you have to get those kills. And you're right. Like, neither of those areas have been acceptable so far. Like, those both have to get better.
And it's, like I said, it's tough because Kempe is the one who's taking the most penalties. And if you look at who's been on the ice for the most power play goals against, it's like arguably your best shutdown defenseman.
I think it's Mike Anderson, right? Yeah.
So it's like, well, what are you supposed to do? Like, you're not going to not play him on the penalty kill.
Who's a very good penalty killer historically.
Yeah. The flip side of that is the power play, which is, I looked it up this morning, from the trade deadline last year.
Yeah.
I believe it's 22% or 22.9%. It's above 20%.
Yeah.
It's clicking. And it has burned them once or twice in game. Like, I don't think they have a shorthanded goal against, but there have been goals that were scored right after the power play ended. Like, I think it was in Winnipeg where the power play ended.
Scheifele goal.
The guy coming out of this. So, like, that's not a shorthanded goal, but it feels
like
a shorthanded goal. But I don't think the power play is hurting them. It is succeeding at a high percentage, but I'm not sure that it doesn't feel dominant.
Yeah.
Like, it feels okay.
Yeah. I remember actually a conversation with Pierre-Luc Dubois a couple years ago where he was talking about, if you just go 1 for 4, you're 25%. Everyone thinks you're good. But if you just score goals that don't really impact the game, are you really good on the power?
Yeah.
It was actually a really interesting thought of, like,
and if you go 1 for 5, you're 20%,
which is
and
still,
it feels totally different. And
then if you go 2 for 9, that's 20. Like, that's pretty acceptable, right? Like 22-23% is going to be top half for sure. They've gotten a lot of situational goals, like the 4-on-3, the 5-on-3. The Vegas game was off the rush,
right?
Like, there have been there's 2 5-on-3 goals, I think. So it's like they're scoring some of those, which are good, because last year it didn't feel dominant and they were not getting those goals. So the clip being high is good, but eventually you want to see the cohesion that they had last year, which I don't think has quite come back yet.
No. Well, to your point earlier, you said, like, they're, I don't know what their record is right now off the top of my head.
5-3-3.
5-3-3. And we still haven't seen the best play out of them.
100%, yeah.
And so it's the same on the power play. It's the same on everything. And, we've had this conversation. I can't remember if it was with Todd McClellan or Jim Hiller, but talking about that the timing matters, right?
It
Whether
does,
it's a save or a face-off win or a power play goal, right? Sometimes the timing of a good thing matters more than the aggregate number of how many times you've done it.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was in the Dallas game. Was there a power play goal in that game?
It was Corey Perry, 5-on-3.
I'm pretty sure they lost the face-off that led directly to that goal.
Might have.
If it wasn't that goal, it was a different one. I just remember very distinctly watching a game. They lost the face-off, kept the puck in the zone, and within 3 seconds of the face-off, it was a goal.
Right.
But they technically lost the face-off.
Yeah.
And so you're like, well, okay. Like, that. So I don't know if they need to fix the definition for how a face-off is won or lost. Because, I mean, like, it very clearly the puck was won by the opponent. It was taken back, but then they tried to rim it out of the zone and on a Kings player stick. So 5-3-3. They come back for, 4 games at home now?
4 at home.
Before going out on another long road trip. And, I'll ask you the same question I asked John Kelly before the road trip. Like, okay, so 4 games at home. I feel like 5 points. It's got to be 5.
That's what I would say.
At least.
Like, it's a tough one, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have Detroit, who's playing very well. You have the Devils, who are playing very well. And then you have Winnipeg and Florida. So that's the defending champs and the defending President's Trophy winners.
Yeah.
So the opponents are good, but that's not an excuse, right? Like, the Kings have touted themselves as a team that it's supposed to be good. So good teams beat good teams. You go out there and win your games at home. I think 5 is acceptable for sure. If you can win 3 of 4, it's very acceptable. But 5 points feels pretty good because then you go back on the road for 5 more. So if you can get 5 more points here, I think you feel like the stumble is completely behind you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the metaphor I always use is sort of each game is a chapter, and each chapter sort of is sort of defined by the one that came before it. So okay, the Kings. Right, not an ideal start, but then they have this road trip that goes almost perfectly. So okay, now the question is, are you going to build on it, or are you going to come back home and stumble again?
Right.
And I think 20 games is a sort of de facto evaluation point in the season.
It's around American Thanksgiving. It's around when the stat. What is it? 75% of teams.
Right.
So you get to feel like, okay, like which teams are real good, which teams are real bad, which teams are on which side of the middle line.
So at the end of the 4-game homestand, they'd be at 15 games. Then they go on the road for 6, I believe. Yeah, that puts you at 21. So we should have a pretty good look on the Kings. And you'd have you'd have 2 long road trips. 4 games doesn't feel like a long homestand, but it's not
longest
small.
one yet.
Yeah. So we're creeping up on having a solid feel for this team, and yet I still have no idea. I still have no feel for this team.
It's just funny. Like, one thing that I know I overestimated was how much last year would translate to this year. Because I looked at, okay, the top 9's the same. They were second in the league in goals per game. The power play is the same. If you include the playoffs, they were number 1 on the power play. And those haven't really translated. Like, they were winning those games down the stretch llast year because they had 2 or 3 of those lines going on every night. I don't know if we've had many nights where 2 of the top 3 lines have been, like, firing on all cylinders on the same night.
Yeah.
Kempe, that line's driven games. Byfield's line's driven games. Deneau's line is driven games. But, like, how many have they all been going, or 2 of them been going?
Yeah, and yet,
if
you look at how many goals they've scored a fair like, I don't have the stat pulled up in front
Every
of me.
Every game's not 2-1, right?
No,
like
I mean, they scored 4 against San Jose. They scored 5 against Vegas. They
4 in Nashville. Like, there are some goals being scored. It's just like last year it felt like, okay, it was line over line. It was like every night at least 2 of those lines were going. And now it's like, okay, if the 4th line steps up, then you might have your second line. But, like, that hasn't been there. And neither has, like, we talked about the power play, right? Like, it hasn't just carried over. So that, to me, was, like, I think a miscalculation of, like, okay, this consistency is just going to automatically start up again. Not really the case. Like, there have been some adjustments, and that to me was the biggest one, was the forwards. That was the thing I was most confident in, was like, oh, they figured it out last year. It's all good. Not necessarily the case, and I think that's one that has to come back.
I don't know how to even track this stat. Maybe we need to write Blake. But it feels to me like this season, the scoring comes in bundles for each, like for the Kings or for their opponent. So opening night,
a lot of games have had that for sure.
I don't remember, was it 4-0 before the Kings scored? So then Vegas, they go out 3-0, and then 5-3, and then
6-5.
It's just like chunks of goals. And San Jose, they go up 3-0.
Yep.
Then
Carolina game was 3-0. Then the Kings tied at 3.
Nashville,
Minnesota, they were down 3. They tied at 3. Like,
so it's like it's St. Louis and Chicago were back and forth games, and Dallas, I guess.
Dallas too, yeah.
But outside of that, it's a small sample size, but it just feels like this Kings team very clearly has the talent, just the raw talent to score goals, and either create a lead or crawl their way back into a game that they are behind in.
Yep.
Just the consistency, which is, I feel like we use that a lot
Yeah.
Was it last year or 2 years? It must have been 2 years ago because last year I
It
feel
was
like they were pretty
20. Yeah, I think it was 22-23 and 23-24. Talked about it a lot.
Yeah. So now here we are again, where it's like, all right, well, the team obviously has to, like, you don't have Kuzmenko, Fiala, Byfield, Kempe,
Right.
Clark, right? It's like they can score. Yeah,
Yep.
they can score. Corey Perry now.
Yeah.
But you got to stay out of the box. You got to have good goaltending and 4-game homestand. Hopefully we start to see some consistency at home this year.
See the pieces of the puzzle all maybe start to click at the same time.
Because I mean, I feel we're 11 games in, but I feel almost more like I did at the start of the season than I did at the start of the season. In that, if everything goes right, I genuinely believe this team could be a Stanley Cup contender.
Yeah.
You see, when the team is playing well, you're like, wow,
yeah,
it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then they blow a 4-0 lead.
But when it's not, then you see it the other way, right?
Yeah.
And it's a team where more of those things have to go right to see it. You know, the Oilers, maybe it's only 3 or 4, but the Kings need 8.
Yeah.
And they can go right. Like, you've seen them go right, but they have to go right at the same time. And that's, I think, what we have yet to see.
Well, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Zach Dooley, you work hard. I know you get lucky. So, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Kings fan. We're going to wrap it up there. Come on out to crypto.com, catch a game because they got to win one at home eventually, right?
They're bound to.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that they wouldn't.
Right. It's going 0. Has any team ever got? I mean, that Sharks team in like their first year
go
maybe?
like 39-2 on the road.
Yeah, like Ottawa or San Jose in those truly god awful.
Maybe they did. Yeah.
Anyway,
they're gonna get one.
Yeah, they'll get one eventually. All right, thanks, Kings fan.
If it was like Air Bud, but we got a platypus.
There's nothing in the rule book that says a platypus can't 10 goals, Zach.